professional practice is that evidence outweighs opinions, and research and advice given based directly on evidence holds stronger weight for all forms of information that is being put out, whether the information is an article, or the information is a blog site, or the information is opinions, or schematics or systems or metrics are put into place, should be based on evidence. I think mostly my practice is more focused on evidence and supported by what others have done in the field, which doesn't mean that there isn't room for improvement or that there wouldn't be gaps in the literature or any other area, but there is room for real change and there's room for real practice and growth by having evidence as a supporting mechanism for all contributions in my particular practice, in my business, in my coaching, and in all the services that I provide to others. What I've learned and have shared with others is that there is a lot of topics that I could actually talk about. There are political avenues that I could stem down. There are evidence-based research in what's happening in a global level and on a global level. There is a lot of foundational measures, academic measures that need to be followed when writing formally or scholarly, or being a scholar practitioner requires a level of detail that you necessarily wouldn't get otherwise. And so it's important that whatever we produce and whatever we do is a reflection of evidence-based work. And in terms of sharing with others, there is a pathway that requires diligence, commitment, dedication, sacrifice. The journey is not necessarily something that is easy or something that can be easily done, but requires so much life adjustments and requires you to become an individual that goes beyond and steps up to the plate in so many different ways. And it's just the beginning to a bigger world that an individual is entering. What I've learned that will impact my leadership and how I will empower and guide others begins with knowing information. I think there is one part of an individual that can be all theory and all practice, but isn't practical. There's another part to things that somewhat we miss the human element. And so it's important to not miss the human element in things. We have to be able to reach others where they are, and sometimes where another individual isn't necessarily where they should be. And so the room for growth is available and it's there. But as a leader, as a mentor, as a coach, I have to be able to meet an individual where they are and then give them the pathway to be successful. I don't think success cannot happen until we build a foundation. And I think part of the foundational skills, and particularly the experience that I've shared in this program, is that it's a building blocks. It's a foundational building block of torture almost. It's moving through a process that's pretty tedious, pretty intense, has a lot of information, and the information isn't necessarily clear cut. It's also information that is intense and requires critical thinking and analytical thinking, and requires a level of detail. And once you become familiar with the system, though, however, it's not to become complacent, or it's not to slow down, but it's necessarily to push yourself more and give yourselves a balance to create this foundation that you can sustain a happy life along with continuing on this journey and through this process. And it's to maintain your integrity after the process is said and done. When it's all said and done and it's all finished, it's about building a foundation that can carry you through and sustain you. Because one thing is to achieve the title, but it's another thing to actually use it for good and to use it in a productive way. And in order to use it in a productive way, you have to be able to get uncomfortable, know your materials, go deeper, dive further, and probably even after the journey's finished, that's when the real work begins, when the reading truly begins, when the effort is more than normal, when the sleepless nights truly kick in. So it's not that the journey ends, it's that it's just a beginning of another chapter, and this is merely the peak. This is merely just the midpoint of other series of